What I think is relevant about this next story is sort of just demonstrating how much Fox News will do, how willing they are to go to whatever length to defend Trump, even about the most minuscule, irrelevant things. So we already talked about, let me kind of walk you through the timeline of this, and then we'll get to Fox News playing some tricky games with their editing as Trump suing CBS for deceptive editing when that's not what happened. But starting with this clip has made the rounds because Trump said, I had a phone call with Gavin Newsom a day ago. And this was yesterday. So a day before yesterday was 2 days ago. All right, I think we're clear. So June 9th is when Trump said they had a phone call. Newsom said, that's not true. We didn't call yesterday. Then Trump provided receipts. And then Fox, to defend Trump, posted the receipts, disproved him. Then the thing that we're getting to in the story, just kind of give away the ending, is then they were very selective in their editing to try to make Trump correct about something that's not that. Okay, he said a day ago and he meant it a few days ago. You don't have to do a whole operation to defend him. But this was the original clip that started it.
When is the last time you spoke with Governor Newsom?
A day ago. Called him up to tell him, got to do a better job. He's doing a bad job.
So a day ago, Newsom said no. And then Trump sent to Fox News their call logs to disprove Newsom when Newsom said, no, he didn't call me yesterday. But then he proved Newsom correct.
On between Gavin Newsom and President Trump. Gavin Newsom, after President Trump said in the noon hour in the Oval Office that he called him yesterday or the other day, Gavin Newsom tweeted the following. He said, quote, there was no call, not even a voicemail. Americans should be alarmed that a president deploying Marines on our streets doesn't even know who he's talking to. Well, President Trump contacted me from Air Force One on his way to Fort Bragg, North Carolina, where he'll be in just a little while. He said the first call to Gavin Newsom was not picked up. The second call Gavin picked up. We spoke for 16 minutes. I told him to essentially, quote, and this is quoting the president, get his ass in gear and stop the riots, which were out of control more than anything else. This shows what a liar he is. Said I never called. So here is the evidence. And here is the call log that the president sent me from his phone. This was.
All right. So if you look at it, it was June 7th. So they post proving Newsom correct, which Newsom had said they called a few days ago. But before the Marines being deployed, which would be a day ago from when Trump said it, of what he was talking about, that call didn't happen. And then Trump sends a screenshot that proves Gavin Newsom correct. But then Fox News acts like it's some bombshell. You remember this?
Right. We're waiting to see what if Governor Newsom, as a response to the president's, essentially what he has there is the receipt for what he says is the call that was.
The receipt of Newsom's point, which was the call didn't happen yesterday. And then Trump gets snappy with reporters who ask about this, not seeming to understand he disproved himself.
Governor Newsom did not speak to you a day ago, as you said, in the Oval Office earlier. What's your response to that?
Well, I gave him, it wasn't a day ago, it was a little longer than that, and I presented the phone conversation to Fox News, John Roberts and Molly Line at Fox News, because they were the ones that said it. And we actually spent 16-point-something minutes on the phone. And I told him he's got to get his act together because you're going to have some bad times in Los Angeles if he doesn't. We had a pleasant conversation. The proof was from the phone company. It was from the phone company. So I spoke to him at a certain time. I'm sure you all saw it. You saw it. You saw. But why would you ask me that question if you saw it? You know, I mean, he asked me a question, and then he says, "Yeah, I saw that you spoke to him." Yeah, I spoke to him for over 16 minutes. I spoke to him for over 16 minutes, and I told him to get his act.
Okay, so before that, he's acting like the dispute is, did you have a phone call ever? Which is not the dispute. But I don't even know why Trump's getting so obsessed with proving this, because it's just a day ago versus a few days ago. But it is relevant given what happened in between their first call and then Trump making huge decisions without consulting Newsom. That's a part of why it's an important dispute. But Newsom had already said that they called a few days ago.
Continues to, as always, hit you hard publicly. Just 10 minutes ago, he put out another Truth Social telling you and the mayor to apologize to the people of Los Angeles. You guys go at it pretty hard publicly, but I know you talk privately. Have you spoken in the last couple of days to the president about any of this?
Yeah, we talked for almost 20 minutes, and this issue never came up. I mean, I kept trying to talk about L.A. He wanted to talk about all these other issues. We had a very decent conversation.
When was this?
This was late Friday night. I think about 1:30 plus his time.
After the protests had started?
After the protests, and he never once brought up the National Guard. He's a stone-cold liar. He said he did. Stone-cold liar. Never did.
Right. And so that brings us to Jesse Waters' show, where he says, well, I'm going to come resolve this dispute because Trump is king and he is great. And he was right that they talked a day ago, which would have meant they talked before sending in the Marines, which was a decision Newsom would have wanted to push back against. And before playing this, please do click the subscribe button if you appreciate the show. It's free and it just helps to suggest the videos.
Called him up to tell him, got to do a better job. He's doing a bad job, causing a lot of death and a lot of potential death. If we didn't send out the National Guard, and last time we gave him a little additional help, you would have
So this is what was being played on Waters' show.
Los Angeles would be burning right now. The radical left, it's usually radical left, and it's usually governors that are Democrat, and they don't want to call them in. They don't want to save lives. They don't want to save property. They don't want to call them in. I don't know what it is.
Newsom responded, and he said there wasn't a phone call. He said Trump never called him. Not even a voicemail, he said. But John Roberts got Trump's call logs, and it shows Trump called him late Friday night, and they talked for 16 minutes. Why would Newsom lie and claim Trump never called him? Why would he do that?
This is insane. This is insane. So I think Asen caught this first, saying Waters plays a clip that's been edited to exclude the part where Trump says he called Newsom a day ago. Did you notice it starts?
Called him up to tell him, got to do a better.
Right before that, he says a day ago, which is what Newsom was responding to. Newsom had already told everyone that they had a call a few days ago. Edited to exclude the part where Trump says he called Newsom a day ago and then shows Trump call logs showing that he spoke on Friday. What? Why would you exclude the day ago part? So otherwise, why would you know? That's the notable part of the clip is we talked a day ago. And who cares? It's not a big deal, but they do anything to prove Trump right, even when obviously he messed up. That's not the big. It is in this moment. Every day does matter, and him acting like he talked with Newsom, given what was happening during that timeline in a time when he didn't, and really before a lot of these developments was when he actually talked to Newsom, and supposedly wasn't actually bringing up LA. But Fox will do anything. And this led to actual headlines about this. Mediaite reporting Fox News deceptively edits Trump video to falsely claim Gavin Newsom lied. And it goes through what we essentially just walked through and demonstrating that all of that was completely ridiculous. One example of exchanges that have been happening, Patriot Takes said, hey, Grok, was June 7th one day ago. And that was yesterday. And Jason Nichols says, what's your point here? The call was late Friday night, early Saturday morning, so seems to support Trump's claim. And Patriot Takes said, hey, Grok, is Saturday yesterday? And Grok said, no, Saturday's not yesterday. Today is Tuesday, so yesterday was Monday. Oh, gosh, this is where we are. That's a good embodiment of politics right now. Yesterday was Saturday. All right, cool. MAGA.